Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to Watkins Glen International as it plays host to the 23rd race of the 6th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Sixth time we've been to this road course, sixth time it's been right around that crucial area near the end of the regular season. The last opportunity here for your road course ringers, your road course aces, to be able to take to a track that they're very familiar with and maybe get themselves a last-minute spot in this season's playoffs. So far, we've run 2 road course races, and Nick Gunther has swept them both at Sonoma and the Charlotte Roval. He'll look to go 3 for 3 here today, but really think that today is going to be a race mostly about track position, as was our 2 previous road course races as well. But also, bear in mind, it is a slightly longer race, so we might end up seeing some pit strategy come into play in this one. Last week, we ended up having Ali Liera go to victory lane in a gutsy gamble at Homestead Miami Speedway. She was the only one to play the strategy to try and make it the entire way on just one pit stop, and it paid off dividends. She went to victory lane for the first time in many seasons, jumped up to 6th in point standings, and now is the number 6 seed in the playoffs. All but confirmed a spot in the playoffs with the gap she has back to 30th in points on only 4 races, including today, remaining on the regular season schedule. Also last week, Jack Dunnard jumped up inside the top 30 in the point standings. He now is 29th. So let's take a look at your playoffs grid and see how much the waters have been muddied in terms of the drivers that were hoping to point their way into the playoffs. Remember, heading into last week's race at Homestead, 5 drivers were in via points. We are now down to only 3 drivers able to make their way in on points. Right now, Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, and James Qualls holding those positions. Matt Haas, by virtue of being the points leader. Now, we could end up having another different driver go to victory lane here today. 2 drivers, Chris Dollerton and Joshua Osborne, they're only 15 points behind the cut line. A good performance from either one or both. They could be back up inside the top 30 in the point standings. It is getting down to crunch time for drivers to find victory lane, because it was looking around the, most of the second half of the regular season like some drivers are going to be able to point their way in. Now that opportunity and that outlook is looking slimmer and slimmer, and we've still got, including today, 4 more races left to go, an opportunity for 4 more different winners to go to victory lane here this season. So we'll have to see what happens in today's 27 lapper. Is on the pole position is going to be Benjamin Miles. Now, normally the pole sitter starts on the inside, which is the left side of the grid, but since we have a right-hand turn 1 here at Watkins Glen, Benjamin Miles is on the inside right side of the front row, and he'll be alongside of Zachary Fitzwater. Now, Benjamin Miles, it's no secret, it has been a horrible season 6 for him. He is dead last in the point standings, only 1 top 10 to his name, no top 5s, no wins, 28th average finishing position, 22nd place average starting position. It's his first pole on the year. Maybe this is the opportunity to turn things around, but he's over 100 points, 101 points behind 30th in standings. So even if he wins here today, it is going to be a huge uphill climb at Atlanta, Bristol Dirt, and Auto Club to try and make his way into a Duracell playoff position, but I think that team just wants to find victory lane after what they've gone through in the first 22 races. Zachary Fitzwater, on the other hand, though, he's all but confirmed in the playoffs. Looks like right now at least 2 of the Evans Gardner Motorsports Chevrolets will be represented in this postseason. Fitzwater, of course, got his first career win back in Indianapolis. He's 9th in overall point standings. As a matter of fact, he is tied for most top 10s on the season with Matt Haas. 10 top 10s between those two drivers in 22 starts. So it has been an absolutely amazing rookie season for him, and he'd love to be able to join Mitchell Collins, Keith Baston, Destin Bolin, and Nick Gunther as a multi-time winner here in Season 6. But enough talk. It's time to go down trackside. It's time to get those most famous words in motorsports and get ready to go racing in our final road course stop of the regular season at the Glen.
Drivers, start your engines!
Toyota TRD pace car going to lead them off of pit lane. You'll see the starting lineup on the right side of your screen. 3 former winners of this event going to be in the field here today. Jose Mills, the inaugural winner back in Season 1. Season 2, it was Jesse Turner. And Season 3, it was Keith Batson who comes into this race riding 2 victories already this season. Jordan Lopez and Diego Yepes, they were the winners in the 2 previous seasons. Lopez, of course, the former champion. Diego Yepes, when he found victory lane here last season, that was a huge step in the 78 team out of Auto Junction Racing, eventually winning the regular season championship, which right now, Matt Haas is pretty much in control of. He had Michael Norman within single digits of him for the last couple of weeks, but a great run for him last week at Homestead. Talk about Matt Haas, and a poor performance by Michael Norman. Now the gap is 26 points from Haas back to Norman. Nick Gunther is 39 points back, the 3-time winner, 3rd in points. Charles Sanford 65 points out, and James Qualls 79 points out, 4th and 5th. The last 2 drivers that right now are in the playoffs via points. Zachary Fitzwater, pretty firm control in the rookie points as well. 9 points in hand over Rick Johnson, 10 points over Destin Boland. Now, we talked about the fact that Chris Dollerton, Joshua Osborne, 15 points behind 30th in standings, our Daytona and Pocono winner, respectively. Daniel Voiles, he is a total of 41 points behind the cut line coming into this race, 40th in overall point standings, our North Wilkesboro winner. Rolling off the grid in the 17th position, he needs a lot of help here in these next 4 races to be able to make his way into the playoffs, because it's kind of seemed like the last couple of weeks he's been in line for a good run and either ends up having something happen where he gets swept up in it, maybe a mistake on pit road. All of a sudden he kind of fades out of the picture for advancing back up into the top 30. So we'll see if he can maybe get something done here today. Daniel Voiles, as a matter of fact, a former winner here at Watkins Glen in a non-charter capacity back in Season 4. So he knows how to get around the lefts and rights, the elevation changes of this road course. But Benjamin Miles, New York native out of the Buffalo area, considers this his home track. He's turned some laps here in a street car at Watkins Glen in his past. And now he's getting ready to lead us down to the green flag in that Hertz Chevrolet Camaro out of Northeast Motorsports. Today's race from Watkins Glen is green. Up through the S's, Benjamin Miles with the top position. Destin Boland going to move into second. Little contact between himself and Zachary Fitzwater as caution is already out. Yellow flag out for the first time here today. That didn't take long. Miles will look to lead us back around here to the start-finish line as Shelton goes a little wide through the chicane. Side by side between herself and Zachary Fitzwater for the 3rd position. Shelton's been on a climb in the points. Right now 20th in the standings. I think she might clear Fitzwater here heading down towards 6 and 7. As Destin Boland all over the back bumper of Benjamin Miles for the race lead here. He was looking to lead us back to the yellow flag, but Miles with a nice turn 6 opens up about half a car length gap and looks like he will lead us back down the front straightaway. Or will he? Boland, last-ditch effort, ducks to driver's right, and he'll just narrowly miss out by about half a car length. of leading us back to caution. Not exactly sure where the incident was. I'm going to assume maybe in the S's. Very tight corners there. Very difficult to go through double wide. We'll see as they make their way up here. Yeah, there's some skid marks right there, so definitely there was some contact in the S's. Armco barriers there, so any contact you make with a wall is going to be heavy contact. And let's see who might have been in it. Oh, Rick Johnson, our Texas winner. Smoke billowing from underneath the Amoco Ford Mustang. 12th in overall point standings. Mentioned second in rookie points. And looks like Chris Dollerton, who needed a good run today, our Daytona 500 winner, looks like he was involved as well. Was 15 points behind the cut line coming to this race. Oh man, Jose Mills, former winner here at the Glen, involved. That's 3 Mustangs. And a couple of drivers back here are sporting some damage. Cody Lamas has got some left side damage on that Florida Panthers Chevrolet Camaro. Looks like the Blue Ovals took the biggest hits in this one. As we'll go back and take a look at a replay of what happened through the S's. Looks like it was just exiting out of turn number 2. Dollerton was towards the back of the pack, so it didn't start with him. He entered into the vicinity late. Oh, looks like it might have been potential 3 wide. I mentioned it's hard enough to go double wide through the S's, but I think we were 3 wide. Cody Lamas, Dylan Poteet, and Jose Mills. Poteet forces the nose in, hooks Cody Lamas around, and then here comes oncoming traffic, all trying to avoid, and right there's the shot for Rick Johnson. There's the shot for Chris Dollerton. Completely rips the whole left front off the Whataburger Ford Mustang, and that is Dollerton's evening, well, not his evening, but his afternoon done. Very fast section of the course, even though these cars were just getting up to speed. See if we can go on board with the 93 of Rick Johnson, who just had absolutely nowhere to go, and it's so narrow up there through the S's. I mean, where is there a place to go without coming to a dead stop? Incident's already happened. There you see the smoke. Oh, who was that up ahead of him? Was that Keith Batson, I think? The 39 of Keith Batson might have gotten a piece. He was the car just up ahead of Rick Johnson. Another former winner here from Watkins Glen back in Season 3. Let's take one final on board. Let's ride with Chris Dollerton, who started this race from dead last. At this point, his focus is just trying to make a move on Anthony McCurry for position, and then suddenly, right there, the 38 after the hit from Rick Johnson, it redirects him back into Dollerton's path, and Dollerton just has absolutely nowhere to go. And I mentioned those Armco barriers there. There's no safer barriers, so you hit those Armco barriers, which are nothing but alloy steel. It is going to rip that car apart. And just like that, looks like we've got already 3 drivers out of the race. Those 3 Mustangs that were involved in that wreck, looks like they are going to finish in 40th, 41st, and 42nd. And actually, we got another driver as well. Keith Batson is out of the race as well. I mentioned, I thought I saw he got a piece of that when we were on board with Rick Johnson. Apparently, that was the case. So Mills, Batson, Johnson, Dollerton, that's 39th through 42nd. They will not reach the conclusion of this race, and that is 2 of the 3 former winners here at the Glen that were in the field today, Mills and Batson. So Jesse Turner is the last one to carry a candle for the previous Watkins Glen winners in this field, and right now the 47 is being scored in the 38th position, last car running. Big reason for that, though, a little bit of strategy playing out here. 2 of the 3 Lake Effect Autosports cars came to pit lane and topped off on the fuel tank. Reese Banks and Jesse Turner. Something to keep in mind if we end up going into a long enough green flag run. Cody Lamas, despite the left side damage that we saw, he had not come to pit road at all. So he will stay out there with a damaged race car. We'll see how up to speed he may be. Well, let's get them back under the green flag here, completing lap number 3 and putting lap number 4 on the board. Benjamin Miles will bring him down into the restart zone and get us back underway here at the Glen. Destin Bolin, Jessica Shelton, Zachary Fitzwater, Ryan Brommer, the top 5 heading into turn number 1. Shelton looking for the 2nd spot on Destin Bolin, and she got a good run here up through the S's. She might be looking for the lead. great launch for that Coors Chevrolet out of S3 Motorsports. They'll take this battle into the straight, heading down to the chicane, or will they? Jessica Shelton, I think, could be clear. That 0-2 had a tremendous launch, and she's going to go to the lead. Great job, great moves there by Jessica Shelton, going from third to the lead. Miles goes from the lead, now back to a battle for third after Bolin gets around for second, and Brommer going to hound for that final spot on the podium. Toyota still looking for their first win on the season. They got a lot of candidates up here right now inside of the top 10. Brommer battling for third. Laura Chung's battling for sixth. Noah Hendrickson's back, I think, in the 9th position. And Brommer clears for third. Here comes Fitzwater looking for fourth on Benjamin Miles, who is very quickly starting to fall back after leading the first 3 laps of this race. Albeit, all 3 were really under caution. Near contact there, Zachary Fitzwater and Ryan Brommer. Brommer gonna look to hang on here. Mitchell Collins, 2-time winner, hounding Benjamin Miles. So a battle for third, a battle for fifth. Brommer holds on to third. Fitzwater tucks back in fourth. Collins gets run a little bit wide there by Benjamin Miles, but he is going to make it work as Miles had to check up the shorter way through the chicane. So move Collins into the top 5. Kyle Matthews trying to get up there with his S3 Motorsports teammate Jessica Shelton. He's hounding Noah Hendrickson. That would be for 7th place. And there is Nick Gunther, 3-time winner. Winner of the first 2 road course stops this season, Sonoma and the Charlotte Roval. He is marching his way into the top 10. Gunther started 12th. He just made the pass on Laura Chung to move into the 9th spot. Further up, 2nd place changed hands. Ryan Brommer got around Dustin Bolin, and he nearly just turned Jessica Shelton entering into the S's. Shelton trying to hold him off, and Dustin Bolin, as these two get side by side, where's he going to go? Things are going to get wadded up here, heading down into the back chicane. Shelton's going to be on the left, Brommer on the right. Can he swing wide enough? Oh, had to check up, got his right sides in the grass. And Shelton will hang on to the lead, at least for the moment. Nose to tail, top 6 right now, back to Benjamin Miles. Then a little bit of a gap before you get to Noah Hendrickson. About half a car length. Hendrickson's got Kyle Matthews all over him. And Matthews going to peek to driver's left, going into turn 6. Not going to be able to make the move. Does he try crossing over here into 7? No, he can't, because Nick Gunther is going to take a look on his inside. Now Gunther has to check up, and they'll all just stay in line, heading back to the start-finish line. Want to amend a previous statement. My telemetry has updated. Cody Lamas did come to pit road under the last caution to repair damage. So Banks, Turner, and Lamas all pitted under are only yellow up to this point. So bear that in mind when we get into potentially a round of green flag pit stops. Brommer for the lead again. Trying once more through the chicane. On driver's right, gets run out of room a little bit there. Has to check up again, and this time it's going to cost him second. Bolin's going to go around on the left side. Guess that would be considered the outside from the right-hand exit of the chicane. Brommer drops back to third. Fitzwater still holding fourth, and the battle is on for fifth. Well, not anymore. Benjamin Miles tucks back in line. Kyle Matthews again showing the nose on Hendrickson into turn 6. Whoa! Nick Gunther a little wide there on the rumble strips. So that'll lose him some time to Kyle Matthews and put him back in the clutches of the 77 of Laura Chung. How about Caleb Fogler? Both of our co-defending champions running well here. Matthews up inside the top 10 in 8th, and Fogler right now in 11th. Right behind him, 63 of Samuel Ryder. 13th place, fastest lap he just ran right there. Jack Dunnard after a good run last week at Homestead, jumps up 5 spots to 29th in points, and right now his Phoenix win counts towards a playoff spot, albeit he's in the 13th seed, but I don't think you really care about your seed positioning as long as you know you're going to be battling for a championship this year. Is Shelton, I don't know what just happened to her. We missed that exchange for the race lead, but she went way wide, they were almost 3 wide through that chicane. And Destin Bolin has gone to the race lead. Ryan Brommer is going to move into second. Fitzwater now trying to get the 3rd spot. Shelton lost a lot of momentum through that chicane and subsequently lost positions as well. And now Destin Bolin, who's trying to put himself back up at the top of the leaderboard for most wins on the season, right now tied with 3 apiece between himself and Nick Gunther. Destin trying to get his 4th win of his career here in Season 6. Speaking of Gunther, he's on the prowl. Looking for another spot, this time on Noah Hendrickson. Kyle Matthews up ahead, looking to pick up a spot on Benjamin Miles, and he will take it. Gunther looking to fill that hole as they go into the S's. I don't know what it is, but it seems like if a driver gets a really good launch off of turn 1, they carry that momentum on the straight all the way to the entrance of the S's. We've seen it with Jessica Shelton when we went back green, able to pick up 2 spots between turn 1 and turn 2, going up through the S's to 3 and 4. I don't necessarily understand what it is about how you're able to get that kind of a launch, but drivers have been able to do it. Battle for the lead might be brewing. Ryan Brommer, first year that he's been in a Toyota Camry, has been in the Final Four for the championship a couple of times in his career, albeit that was back when he was driving a Dodge for Bulldog Motorsports. Been a very under-the-radar driver here this season, 28th in the point standings. Might be able to get his first win here today. He was a little wide there out of turn 7, might have caught the rumble strips just wrong. Loses some ground to Destin Bolin as 3rd place under contest. Shelton, Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater going to get the spot there. I'm almost wondering if maybe it's that rumble strip is why drivers are able to get that launch off of turn 1. If you run low, you're not going to swing wide and get your right sides on that rumble strip. And while those rumble strips are there for drivers to be able to use, they aren't necessarily helpful, especially on a day like today. You put down rubber, the sun beats down on it, it is slick when you hit it. And when you get your right side, or your left sides, in this case, up on the rumble strip off of turn 1, I would think it actually would cause the tires to slide a little bit, to spin a little bit, lose you momentum. You keep all 4 tires on the asphalt, and you're going to get a lot more grip and maybe get that launch we were talking about heading into the S's. Fitzwater, nice job there, getting to the inside. Driver's left of Ryan Brommer, and he's actually going to clear him before they get to turn 7. Took that tiny little straight from 6 to 7 to pass the 87 of Ryan Brommer. Granted, Brommer might have let him take the spot, since it would have been a bit of a compromised position for him on the top side going through turn 7, but nonetheless, it was a nice pass by the 66 as Nick Gunther working his way around Kyle Matthews. Gunther's getting closer to that top 5. And the battle for the lead is on. Oh, look out! Fitzwater and Shelton get together in the S's. This is going to be a yellow. Look out, oncoming traffic. Everybody else is going to avoid, it appears. Caution is indeed out. As the battle for the lead is on, that was a battle for 3rd gone wrong between Fitzwater and Shelton. Nobody else fortunately involved, as our first caution was through the S's and we had some innocent victims taken out. And Ryan Brommer's cleared for the lead. First time today, Ryan Brommer is out in clean air and looks like he may be leading us back to our 2nd caution. Destin Bolin might not go away quietly. He's right on the back bumper of that Twix Toyota Camry. And what does the timing of this yellow do potentially for pit stops? Can these drivers make it the rest of the way when they come to pit road here, which I'm certain everybody will be coming to pit road. We ran 8 laps under green flag conditions right there. And Ryan Brommer will cross the line, and he will take the yellow. 2nd caution of the day here at Watkins Glen. This time for a 2-car incident, I hope. I know Zachary Fitzwater left the scene of the accident. Shelton looked like she got her car righted. I'm hoping nobody was double wide behind and ran over her. There you see the skid marks, and I'm not seeing any follow-up skid marks here coming through the final section of the uphill S's, so that's a very good thing. But the tough break there is, as mentioned, that was a battle. That was contact between two drivers that were side by side for third place. Now, I think they're both going to be able to continue. There is Shelton, a lot of front end damage as she dropped back and crossed the line in 26th. Where is Fitzwater? There he is. He crossed in 15th. You can definitely see he's got rear end damage. Both those drivers hit the Armco barrier with the right side of their Chevrolet Camaros. Boy, that's a tough break there for both of those drivers who were looking like they were en route for really good runs here today. Maybe finding victory lane. For Fitzwater, it'd be his second win of the season. For Shelton, it would be first win of the season, and she was 20th in points, so it could have been a potential playoff spot for her. But top five as they run right now under pacing: Ryan Brommer, Dustin Bolin, Nick Gunther, Mitchell Collins, Kyle Matthews. Pit road is open. No doubt everybody will be coming to pit lane. And as soon as I say that, Dustin Bolin appears that he's not coming down pit road. I don't understand this at all. Ryan Brommer's going to come in. This is the right call. Why would you not come to pit road? Caleb Fogler's in. Laura Chung is in. Jack Dunnard's going to come in. I don't understand this strategy. Unless you feel that these guys that are coming to pit road won't be able to make it. I got a feeling that we're going to see a number of these drivers when we go back green. They're going to dive to pit lane the next lap. But I don't understand the call at all. Fitzwater's in. Trying to tell, is that Dylan Poteet? I think that was up at the top of the hill there on pit road. We'll document all the drivers that came to pit lane here under this caution, but let's go back and see what the caution came out for. We caught the tail end of it. Didn't really get to see it in live time with our camera focused on it. But we know for sure the drivers that were involved in it. And it looks like Jessica Shelton, they've made the hard call to bring the car to the garage area. Oh, man, that's a tough break. It's bad enough to see drivers get taken out of a race, but when they've been so strong, Shelton had led 4 laps of this race. Here's a look at it. Shelton going to make the move here up through the S's. We've seen drivers double wide all day long. Boy, she slid into the corner, though. I wonder if, with the fact that we had run so many laps under green, these tires did not have the grip they had in the early going, and she might have felt she could send it a little bit harder into turn 2 than she did. You saw the back end slide, and she made the contact with Zachary Fitzwater, and we're going to get a very good view here as they come up through the S's of just the impact between those two. Watch this. Bam. Right here, very fortunate that we were single file, because Shelton, the back end of her car, could have very easily been out in a racing line if they were racing double wide. We could have had some other drivers collected up in this. Let's go on board with Shelton. Let's listen to the throttle on the 0-2 coming off of turn 1 and heading into the S's. Listen for the tires. Oh, right there. That hit right there. If both drivers had hit side first in the Armco barrier, they probably would both have been able to continue. But the fact that Shelton made contact with the back of the 66, it jacked up the front end of her Chevrolet. That's where the radiator is housed. A lot of things that you need, especially for a place like Watkins Glen, to have the car operating at top performance. And yeah, that's, I think, a big reason why Shelton is out of this race. Lights out atop the pace car already. Very quick pacing laps here at Watkins Glen. No sooner is pit road open than the lights go out midway down the straight towards the backstretch chicane. So we have very few pace laps that we run here. And everybody was on the lead lap too, so we didn't have an extra lap of pacing. So Destin Boland's going to lead us back to green. Nick Gunther, Mitchell Collins, Ryan Brommer, Kyle Matthews. That's the top 5. Actually, correction, Kyle Matthews 4th and Noah Hendrickson was 5th. Scoring did not update yet after the 87 hit pit road. Looks like it was a split decision. We had 18 drivers elect to stay out. We had about another 18 drivers come to pit lane. Ryan Brommer, Caleb Fogler, Laura Chung, Jack Dunnard, Dylan Poteet. They were the first 5 off of pit road. Others that pit included Rob Evans, Reggie Fogelman, Dylan Young, Matt Haas, Cole Deaver, Quentin Moore, Nathan Ormond, RJ Bishop, Cody Lamas, Ryan Butcher, who's got a battle for the lead here. Collins trying to take it through the chicane, and he will. Two-time winner Mitchell Collins going to move to the point. Also, Reese Banks, Jesse Turner, Levi McIntyre, Zachary Fitzwater. All were on pit road under this caution. As mentioned, Jessica Shelton out of the race. She joins Jose Mills, Keith Batson, Rick Johnson, and Chris Dollerton in the infield, in the garage area. 2 cautions so far here today. As Mitchell Collins, a little wide there. Out of turn 7, up on the rumble strips. Destin Bolin, nice run down the front straight. Is going to try and take the lead. And how about the 3-time winners? Bolin and Nick Gunther now up inside of the top 5. There's Kyle Matthews, co-defending champion. He's going to move into 2nd place after Collins got his left sides up on that rumble strip off of turn 1 I was talking about. Be a little bit concerned here for these drivers that stayed out. Also in the regards that they've got worn tires. We saw what happened with Jessica Shelton, how that car slid into the right-hand turn 2 up through the S's, making contact with Zachary Fitzwater. That's something these drivers are going to have to contend with here before they eventually come to pit road for fresh rubber. Charles Samper making a move on Samuel Ryder. That's for 7th. Charles Samper, the 2nd highest driver in the point standings without a win. 4th in overall points. The S3 Motorsports cars have been fast today. Samper now making his way up in the top 10. Kyle Matthews right now in 2nd. Shelton was out in front, as we mentioned. And here we go. This is what I was talking about. Pit road's open. Ooh, this is going to be close. Are we coming double wide down pit road between Gunther and Collins? Gunther gives way to the 33. So this should cycle the guys that pitted out to the lead. And it's going to be Brommer after Caleb Fogler had to check up. So Brommer goes back to the race lead. So this says to me that those drivers that just came to pit lane, they feel that this group, they cannot make it the rest of the way without coming to pit road at least one more time. And then they're of the assumption they would cycle back out to the race lead. So we will fall back to that 2nd group when they come off pit road to see who of that pack would maybe be the race leader near the end of this race, if indeed this first group cannot make it the rest of the way, which would be about 11.5 laps. Top 5 is completely changed. Romer the leader, Fogler to 2nd, Poteet now in 3rd, Laura Chung and Rob Evans the top 5. I look at that 65 of Rob Evans, and I remember the fact that he has a road course victory in the non-charter series for the Duracell Cup Series back in Season 4. That was at the Indianapolis Road Course. Let's see if we can find that that 2nd pack. They've all left pit road. Who got out first? It was Destin Bolin over Kyle Matthews. So we'll watch the race within the race. We'll watch Bolin versus Matthews versus Gunther, and then we'll watch up here at the front of this lead group, which right now is Brommer versus Fogler versus Poteet versus Chung. And Fogler is going to go to the race lead in the 28 car. Only 1 win on the season for Blue Oval Automotive, and that is with the rookie driver William Hoer back at Las Vegas. Jose Mills still winless, and he's back in the garage area. Caleb Fogler, 1/2 of the co-defending champions. 37th in points coming into this race. It has not been a good sophomore year for him, if you want to call it a sophomore year. Didn't run, he ran full time, but only 12 races last year since we had the 3 drivers per car. Hence why he's got the rookie stripes on his Ford here this season. And there's the 08 of Cole Deaver. I was going to mention before we ended up having those drivers hit pit lane, the S3 Motorsports cars have looked very strong here today. Shelton led some laps. Kyle Matthews was up inside of the top 5 before he headed to pit road. Charles Samper was making his way up into the top 10 before he hit pit lane, and now Cole Deaver is up inside of the top 10 in 6th position. Chevrolet has never won a race here at Watkins Glen. Toyota has 1 victory, and then the other 4 victories have been Fords. Right now, the highest running bow tie is Dylan Poteet in 4th place. A couple of other Chevrolets behind him, and Rob Evans, Cole Deaver, and Reggie Fogelman. Got a battle going on for the lead. Also a battle back here between the aforementioned Fogelman, his teammate Jack Dunnard, and Dylan Young in the 2. And D Young's going to take that position, move him up to 7th. Laura Chung just took the lead. Remember Dylan Poteet back during our Daytona Speed Week saying he was expecting a lot out of Laura Chung this season. Well, Laura's been up and down in the point standings. Last week was a down at Homestead. 27th in points is where she's currently at. Trying to get Toyota their first win overall this season. And trying to get what would be the first win of her career. Laura Chung, of course, back in Season 4, made a number of starts for Mills Motorsports. Driving in a Ford Mustang in non-charter capacity. Ended up making, I believe it was 12 starts in the charter races. And that's why she ended up being a driver that a lot of people were looking at here, since she had some experience, quite a bit of experience in Duracell Cup Series charter racing, as opposed to a number of the other rookies in her class. As maybe we might have a 1-2 here for Auto Junction Racing. Not quite. Caleb Fogel going to hold off Ryan Brommer for the time being. So Laura Chung, Ryan Brommer, Rob Evans. I'm looking at drivers up here. Cole Deaver. These are drivers that are just above or just below the 30th in standings cut line. If they were to win, they would more than likely be up inside the top 30 in points heading into next week. Could potentially be securing themselves a spot in this season's playoffs. By the way, if you're keeping track of the ticker, Kyle Matthews just got around Destin Bolin for the 20th position. Why is that important? That's the group that came to pit road that we're assuming should be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. If these drivers up here in this pack cannot, so could potentially be the battle for the race win. And as soon as I say that, Destin Bolin has passed Kyle Matthews back. So these drivers know. Oh, Destin's going to run way wide, and he's actually going to get the wall there. Kyle Matthews says thank you very much, and he's going to... I thought he was going to go on by Destin Bolin. Bolin was able to keep his foot in the throttle, and he'll stay alongside of Matthews here down into turn 1. Kyle should be able to take the spot here, getting that launch that we've seen many drivers get. Nick Gunther, Noah Hendrickson, and Mitchell Collins battling for what right now could translate out to 3rd place. But again, we saw last week where Ali Liera rolled the ultimate dice, paid the ultimate gamble, and it worked, making it the rest of the way when everybody else came to pit road on that final stint at Homestead. There's no saying that a driver up here in this pack of 19 may not roll the dice the same way. Laura Chung has opened up a big distance right now. I think if I were her, I'd start saving some fuel if it is that close. Ryan Brommer will move into 2nd. Cole Deaver now battling for 3rd with Caleb Fogler. Bear in mind, if we end up having a caution at this point, that would certainly shake things up, because all these drivers would come to pit lane. I don't know if those other drivers behind them would stay out or not. This is tight through the chicane. Deaver's going to swing around Caleb Fogler. Poteet's going to do the same through the carousel. Fogler battles back, though. Is back alongside for 4th. Advantage should go to Dylan Poteet here. I was going to mention, where's the other Auto Junction Racing Toyota? And there he is, just now peeking out on the left side of our screen, but right side of Dylan Young. Ryan Butcher, right now in the 8th spot. So all 3 of the Auto Junction Racing Toyota Camrys are up inside of the top 10. Ryan Butcher right now would be the first man out of the playoff grid via points. He is 11th in overall standings, and he is, if I could do the quick math in my head, I think he's 32 points behind James Qualls for the final spot in the playoffs. But right now, this is not what drivers like James Qualls or Charles Sanford want to see. Potentiality of another first-time winner. Right now, you look at your top 5, Laura Chung, Ryan Brommer, Cole Deaver, Caleb Fogler, Dylan Poteet. None of them have been to victory lane yet. Rob Evans, Dylan Young back there as well. As a matter of fact, you got to go all the way back to Jack Dunnard in the 11th spot before you find a driver that has gone to victory lane previously this season. The entire top 10 all looking for their first win of season 6. Laura Chung last time by had over a second advantage. Back to Ryan Brommer. Again, if the numbers are close, I think I would start saving if I'm that 77. This time by, going to be 5 laps to go. These 5 laps are going to be very, very crucial. Let's see who's winning in the battle between Kyle Matthews, Destin Boland. It's Matthews right now out in front. But these two have been swapping that position, that 20th place, back and forth. These last couple of laps. Boland's taking a turn out in front, then Kyle Matthews is taking a turn out in front. Question remains, though, are they battling for 20th, or are they battling potentially for this race win? Kyle Matthews, to my knowledge, has never had a road course victory, and obviously Destin Boland hasn't. His 3 victories this year have taken place at the shorter tracks, the mile tracks, mile and a half tracks, the ovals, if you will. Fogelman and Matt Haas. This is, I believe, for 10th place. In terms of the battle for the points lead, Matt Haas is part of this group that had already pitted prior to the caution coming out. Well, actually, when the caution had come out, I should say. Michael Norman is on the other strategy, as is Nick Gunther. Right now, Michael Norman is 27th, and Nick Gunther is in 22nd place. In that battle still with Noah Hendrickson and Mitchell Collins as the Dylan and Dylan show. That was for 6th. Give it to Poteet. Young falls back now. Battling with Ryan Butcher, who looked like he bailed out of that one. Laura Chung's lead is starting to dwindle. Had over a second between herself and teammate Ryan Brommer. Last time by, it is 4/10. And Cole Deaver is beginning to close as well. So the question is, did the 77 use up her stuff, or was she saving fuel when she had that advantage in terms of track position? Only time will tell, as Toyota is still looking for their first win on the season. They've only got 5 entries in the field every week, 2 out of the Haas Racing stables and 3 out of Auto Junction Racing. But right now, they've got 4 Toyotas up inside of the top 9. The lone Toyota that is off sequence with the others is Noah Hendrickson. That was a nice corner for Ryan Brommer. He's all over the back bumper of his rookie teammate. Showed the nose, no lane going into the right-hand uphill turn 2. If these two start battling, Cole Deaver might be able to close up the gap and make it a 3-man fight for the lead. I don't know what happened back here, but all of a sudden these guys really got stacked up. Did somebody hit pit road from this group? Where's the 78 of Ryan Butcher? I think the 78 might have pit. 89 is now leaving pit road. Where's the 78 car? Yeah, I think the 78 pit. And he's going to come out right behind Kyle Matthews and Destin Boland. I think Rob Evans, actually, and Caleb Fogler might have pit, and they came out ahead of the 09 and the 12. This is interesting. If we have more pitters, they might have built up enough of a gap that they'll come out ahead of the 09 and the 12, who we had designated as potentially cycling out to the race lead. So right now, I think Fogler in the 28 car is in the catbird seat. Look at that. Fogler ahead of Evans, ahead of Matthews, ahead of Boland, ahead of Butcher. So Caleb Fogler hoping that the rest of the drivers up ahead of him can't make it on fuel. But it's going to be close. This next time by is going to be the white flag. Laura Chung and Ryan Brommer, a couple of teammates. Who wants it more? Chung is 27th in points. Brommer is 28th in points. Both of them are basically in a must-win situation if they're gonna make it into the playoffs. Chung has never been in the playoffs before. Ryan Brommer has. Do they pit? It's their last opportunity here if they have to. Otherwise, they're going to run out of fuel. They're not coming in. Laura Chung's going to hang on. Ryan Brommer, big run there out of the final corner, coming to the white flag. Does he show the nose to the inside? He's looking. Not going to make the move. He might be trying to run that 77 hard and run her out of fuel. Both cars wide there off of turn 1. If Ryan Brommer's going to make a move, he's probably going to have to make it down into the final chicane. Trying to run a little offline there, trying to get some momentum through the S's. He loses some ground, but can he get the draft and get back up on the bumper heading here into the chicane? It's about a car length advantage Laura Chung has. She cannot mess up these corners. Ryan Brommer is within pouncing distance. Both ran the identical same line out of the chicane. Here's the final passing zone coming up for Ryan Brommer. Runs about a half groove higher out of the carousel, trying to build some momentum. Laura Chung's going to try and make that bumper as wide as possible. Toyota's going to get their first win of the season. It's a question, though, is it 77 or 87 that takes the checkered flag? Here they come into the final turn. Does Brommer make a move to the inside? Does Chung mess up here in turn 7? Laura Chung wide, gets the rumble strip. Ryan Brommer, he makes a move to the inside. Here they come to the stripe. Drag race. Laura Chung's going to get her first career Duracell Cup Series win here today at the Glen. She almost threw it away. Almost messed up that final corner. But Laura Chung, the rookie out of Auto Junction Racing, gets Toyota their first win of the season, first win of her Duracell Cup Series career, and second straight victory here at the Glen. Auto Junction Racing has now won back-to-back races here in New York State, and it's a 1-2 finish for the organization with Chung and Ryan Brommer. It was a question of could they make it on fuel. Apparently the answer was yes. And being 27th in the points coming into this race, the question that we'll be asking for these final 3 races, did Laura Chung just clinch herself a spot in her first playoffs appearance in her Duracell Cup Series career? Cole Deaver's going to bring it home in 3rd. Dylan Poteet was 4th, and points leader Matt Haas, another solid run today, as he'll bring it home in the 5th position. We wondered if drivers were going to be able to cycle back to the front after electing to pit under green after we had that early couple of cautions. It did not work out to their benefit, as I believe the highest finishing of the drivers that pit was Kyle Matthews, and he finished in the 16th position. So the gamble did not pay off, the off-sequence strategy, but Laura Chung, where did she start this race? 4th place. Led the final 10 laps of this race and picks up her first career victory. Came close a couple of weeks ago. It was New Hampshire when she finished runner-up to Keith Batson. Gave it a really big run there to try and pick up her first career win then. Had to wait a couple of weeks. But it was 8 100ths between herself and Ryan Brommer, about half a car length, that she was able to hang on and pick up the win. We gave it the top 5. Dylan Young, great run for him there in 6th. Jack Dunnard, 1 week after he moved back into the top 30 in points, he's looking to build that gap, put a cushion between himself and that cut line. Top 10 run for him in 7th. 8th place run for Levi McIntyre, Reggie Fogelman in 9th. And Jesse Turner, who was the only driver running at the end that had previously taken a checkered flag here at the Glen, he brings it home with a solid top 10. Nathan Ormond in 11th, make that RJ Bishop in 12th. Fitzwater, who started on the outside of the front row after he ended up also being involved in that wreck with Jessica Shelton. A great comeback for him. He gets 13th, Cody Lamas in 14th, and Reese Banks completed the top 15. Of the drivers that pitted once we went back green, Kyle Matthews mentioned was the highest finisher of those, 16th for him. Caleb Fogler, Destin Bolin, Rob Evans, Ryan Butcher, the top 20. Then Hendrickson, Collins, Nick Gunther's bid to go 3 for 3 at the road courses comes up short. He's going to finish 23rd here tonight. Michael Norman and Anthony McCurry were the top 25. Pole sitter Benjamin Miles fell all the way back to 27th. Charles Sanford fell back to 26th. James Qualls all the way back in 34th place. Bad news for those drivers is the fact that we had another first-time winner here that was inside the top 30 in the points in Laura Chung. Joshua Osborne, where did he finish? 29th. He was 15 points behind the cut line. I don't know if he'll make it back up in the top 30 or not. Chris Dollerton certainly won't, as he was one of 5 drivers that finished the race behind the wall, joining Jessica Shelton, Jose Mills, Keith Batson, and Rick Johnson. So Dollerton, only 3 more races left for the Daytona 500 winner to try and make his way back up into the top 30 in points. And Daniel Voiles, oh man, I don't even know if he's even in a must-win situation that would get him back in the top 30. His 31st place run for him here today. Looking like he very well may be one of a few drivers that have a victory this season that will not be participating in the playoffs unless something takes place very quickly here in these final 3 races of the regular season, which are going to include next week when we head to the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Then we're short track racing. It's the final showcase race of the season at Bristol Dirt. And then the regular season finale when drivers put all their chips on the table in their final bid for a playoff position at the 2 Mile Speedway / Super Speedway of Auto Club. Hope you guys will tune in for those races next week. We head to the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Laura Chung will be heading in there as a current playoff contender. Who else is going to join her? We're going to be finding out in just a moment once the point standings are accumulated. But if you enjoyed today's race here from Watkins Glen, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you full page results, and these are those said point standings heading into next week. Laura Chung joins the long list of drivers who have gotten their first career victories here in Season 6 of the Duracell Cup Series. We've still got a little ways left to go in the regular season. Until next week, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.